Hey, welcome to another edition of the Growth Engine with Ryan and Trice. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, it's a long week. We got a lot going on this week. But we've got a topic that is, I think, going to be very interesting for CEOs who are having problems with turnover, having problems getting new hires or people to join their team, having current people problems with people who are still in their company, and so I want to talk about my top three things that your people want from you. Okay.
Mm,
The top three things. And here's where I get this from. Okay. This is relevant, recent stuff. This isn't a third party research. This is, I was hired to interview for a marketing role in a company. And when I would get done with my pre-screening process, I would have the candidates ask questions.
mm. Okay.
And what I noticed was something very different from years ago when I would interview. I was getting questions that were very different. And the difference goes into three areas that I've wrapped up into these top three things that people want from you, the CEO, and the company. So I have those things ready to go when you're ready.
Let's jump in. I love this topic because obviously hiring and people changing jobs and the culture of change is really rampant right now. And we both have culture as a hot button for us.
Mhm.
And I think it's CEOs' jobs to recognize culture is their primary sort of goal. Should all times. They are the owner of culture. So I love this topic. Let's jump into it.
Yeah, it when I'm coaching with CEOs, people, culture are always really important to them. Like maybe one of the top things.
Yeah.
And why is it important? Because they love culture? Not necessarily. But culture is important for them because they don't want turnover. They want their people happy, and they know happy people would mean happy customers and a growing company. So, top three things I interviewed and phone screened 23 candidates, and the things that they asked fall into these three areas. Number one, the most important thing that was asked was, what is the company's vision?
Mm.
Different from mission, they wanted to know what the company's vision was. And I thought this was fascinating because I'm thinking, like, this is CEO talk. This is like leadership talk, right?
Yeah.
I think that today's candidates have been in good companies, or they've read enough on social media and LinkedIn. They know what good companies do. And so they come right in with this, what's your vision? And like a real hard nose, like they're waiting for this really big answer that's just going to light them on fire and they can get behind and be passionate about. And they want to know, if I come to work for you, am I going to come to work and do a role or a job and nothing new is really going to happen? Or do you have a real vision at the company and everybody's on board and you're going to go do something? You're going to make a difference, or you're going to accomplish something that others haven't accomplished. And they want to hear it. They want to know what that thing is, because they want to go on a journey with
Yeah.
this. They want to go somewhere, especially the younger they are. They're excited about being in a career and a job, and they want to know, are we going somewhere? Or am I just going to come in and do a job every day, or just get, log in online and do the same stuff every day? Is
Yeah.
this going to be exciting or not?
Yeah. I love this. So just for everybody that, may not be real clear what we talk about when we talk about this, what is the difference between a vision and a mission?
Yeah. So vision is much bigger picture. A vision has to do with your passion about what you're going to change in the world. It's more about, it doesn't have to be worldly per se. It can be that you are going to be the best in your industry because you are going to do something so different. It borderlines with innovation, but vision really sets forth a place. You could describe it, that when you get there, this is what it looks like. It's the vision of what usually you're doing for your customer, and
Right.
it's through the customer's eyes of what that looks like when you arrive at it, right?
Mhm.
So I love this piece of it. I work with a client who, their vision is really clear, and everybody in the company knows where they're headed. They know the next step is after they get to a certain quantity of projects and clients, they're going to build this really awesome building that's going to have a lot of components inside. They've already designed it as far as what areas it will have in it, and there's a little something for everybody, especially the customers. They can come in and see and touch and feel the product, right?
Yep.
And they know that from the Midwest, from Kansas City outward, and north, south, east, west, 13 state area, they're going to dominate in their industry, and they're going to do things with efficiency and process and a higher quality product, and they're going to do something that nobody's proven they can do yet, and they've got a real clear vision on what that looks like. A mission can be much, much different in that your mission could be more about what you come in to do every day. What is closer in? What do you see right in front of you? What is your mission that every person in the company can touch every day? It's not as far down the road, right? So
Right.
a mission can be something
sometimes.
you wake up in the morning and you're going to go do this thing in a mission. So it's a lot closer and more tangible. You can accomplish it each day when you're dealing with customers. A vision is a journey. You're going to arrive somewhere down the road, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a good way to show the difference. I think a lot of people often don't know how to differentiate between those two things. It's not like a big deal. Like it's not going to make or break your business if you can't do that. But I think to your point of employee engagement, it is a lot easier to get buy-in and people behind you when they're really passionate about this vision. And there are a lot of companies that are very that mix together sort of their community service aspects of their business and their own profitability of their business at the same time, right? Like Tom's is a great example with giving shoes away, and For Ocean is a company that's cleaning the oceans and creating jewelry and products and things from the plastics, right? It's very, it's very community focused, and those are easy things to get passionate about. It's a little harder when you're like, we're a B2B company and we sell B2B things and we sell them to B2B people, like a lot less sexy. But when you can say to people, we have a vision for where this is going, how we serve customers, how we can be the best at what we do, and have a passion for that, that in and of itself could sell it for a lot of people, because they're like, hey, look, I mean, I do what I do really well, and here's a company that's really passionate about what they do. I want to be a part of that. And it's you can't help it as a human, just can't, for that to motivate you in a lot of ways.
I think this question also is a test to what type of leadership are you going to go work for? Can they clearly state their vision? Can they clearly state where this company is going? Or do they fumble with this question, right? Yeah. And so when they can clearly say, yes, here's the journey we're going on right now. It's exciting. And they can give examples of here's what's happening in this department, and here's what we're doing over here. And you can hear that in their voice.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah. It's not something that's like, oh, we'd like it to be that way at some point. We'd like it to do this. You hear that confidence in this. We are going to do this blank in this thing. And so they may not at first be excited about this vision that you present, but if you're a good leader, you can sell that vision because you can see it with such clarity. So I love that these candidates were asking about vision.
Yeah, I love that.
Caught me off guard.
Yeah, I can imagine it does. I mean, like one of the hardest things I think people have in going into a new role is trying to understand the culture of an organization. And a vision question is a great way to start that process, because you get some real if the person you're interviewing can't tell you, that might be a red flag, honestly, or they can tell you it could be the beginning of a understanding of what that culture is going to be like. Cultures that are very much like, everybody drank the Kool-Aid and there's a lot of, feeling behind it, and we're the best at what we do, and we work with the best, and that kind of thing. It can't help but attract top talent. It can't
Yeah.
help it, no matter what they pay. I won't use names, but I'll give you an example of I worked previously in my life in a marketing agency, and that marketing agency had an incredible brand recognition, and everybody that was there, including myself, 100% drank the Kool-Aid. And in doing so, everyone I knew that was in marketing that had never worked there before wanted to work there. And it was a fascinating thing to watch because, and including me, before working there, I wanted to work there. I had two friends that worked in this firm. And as soon as I got there, I was like, I understand now why everybody buys in, because you have to. And the leadership of the organization make it very easy to do so because everybody works together. It's very much a team mentality. And sure, there's still struggles and hardships and ups and downs in the business and all of the normal things, but everybody that's there is like, this is the best. These guys are at the top of the food chain. Why wouldn't I want to be here? Working with the biggest brands in the world, Fortune 10, like, why wouldn't you want to be there? Like, it's just exciting even thinking about it. And anybody that can reflect that in their own industries, right? It's powerful. It's a powerful thing.
Yeah. I think the vision side of this is difficult for the CEO, because although he might clearly be able to state it in the interviewing process, and let's say he's really good at it and he has that down, he can communicate it, right?
Right.
You use the pouring the Kool-Aid scenario, right? You're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Drinking the
So I'm going to
Kool-Aid.
bring up who's pouring the Kool-Aid then after they're hired. And this is, I think, a CMO role big time, is who's helping the CEO. He can't do it alone. He needs leadership to help him. And I think CMOs and marketing leadership plays a big role in keeping that vision going and out in front of people. And a lot of that's just communication. It's announcements. It's hitting milestones. What areas have you seen that marketing can keep pouring that vision to the culture in the company?
Yeah, it's no doubt. That's exactly right. Like, I have seen it both internal and as well as in the hiring process, where the communication of like who we are and fundamentally like why we're what our goal is. Our goal is to be the best at something. And being able to communicate that through the hiring process and help people understand and get a feel for that culture in every aspect of their interaction, be it site, hiring process, collateral materials, benefits, everything, so in that way. And then also internally of your own communication devices, be it, newsletters, branding, whatever it is, it's inside the organization. You're right that communication is it can be underutilized in a lot of organizations, and until organizations get to a certain scale, they don't necessarily feel a need to like have people that are dedicated to internal and external communication or shareholder and employee communication, right? Those are very different, but same kind of idea. Like, there's a lot of like cultural vision communication that comes out of that. As a CMO, you often are focused on growth and customers, and this is different. It's branding, obviously, and it's an extension of branding that can be very external. Frankly, the more of it you do and the better you are at it, the better your hiring is going to be, just absolutely, because people are more likely to look at you because you're visible and you're talking about how great you are and you're talking about what your future looks like, and people want to be a part of a future.
Yeah.
And when you don't do those things, nobody knows that you have a future. And frankly, people may not even know you exist, and even in your local community. And that's the tragedy of it. And if you can, as a CEO, if you understand that connection with people is so important to you, you have to engage the people that are the best communicators in your organization, and how that scales down and out is a part of it. So
the branding side of it to me is if you've ever had somebody do work for you, a company that you hired and they grew
Mm.
and they got really big, and all of a sudden the service wasn't quite what it used to be, right?
Right.
You're you're not you're seeing that just for what you're experiencing, and you say to yourself, that company's gotten too big. You basically like they're no longer for me.
Yep.
Basically, what you have in that situation is a company who is growing from, for revenue and profits. They aren't communicating a vision. And I've seen companies grow and do it very well and have communicated their vision to the public and to their customers. So their customers know, yes, they're growing. And all of a sudden, instead of it being a negative, now
Hmm.
it's a positive. Now they're actually excited to be a part of this company. So the branding and the announcement of your vision can keep customers happy, can keep employees on board longer, and keep everybody unified. So not just internally, but externally too.
Yeah. You very much can make your vision and your reoccurring sort of communication of that vision a campaign of branding, right? Like that can be the cornerstone of your branding for years, frankly, if you want it to be. Um, it's an important part because it's the cornerstone of who you are, first off, right? Like this is who we are. And our goal is to be this kind of person to our customers every day. And the ability for you to push that out and be good at that branding portion can impact your social, can impact your website, it can impact your internal communications, your external communications, board communications, shareholder communications, whatever. Those are all valuable pieces to keep people abreast of like where you're at in this process. And it evolves, it changes. You're like, you can tell stories. It's really easy. This is the part about this I was thinking about earlier was it's really easy for sales and marketing and customer service, those types of people that talk to customers every day. It is very easy for those kinds of people to get passionate about vision and brand and communicating these kinds of things outwardly. It's incredibly difficult for HR and accounting and sometimes operations, because it's just, they don't necessarily feel the sexiness of that customer interaction that other people do. And it doesn't fire them up in the same way. But that doesn't mean they're not a part of the vision. In fact, frankly, if you can get those people to be passionate about their part of the growth and the service of the company of customers, you're nailing it.
Yeah.
Like I worked in an organization where everyone was so fired up about the growth of the company, 20% growth. And they're like, people's just like, this company's amazing. And I was like, as the other side of it, like communicating a lot of that. I was like, it's fascinating to watch. People were like so excited about where the company's going because it's growing at a very consistent scale that's really good. And it was fun to watch because people talked about it all the time, and that's powerful.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a company with a lot of brand awareness, didn't do a lot of branding, didn't do a lot of external communication, but was growing significantly nationally, and their employees were really fired up about it. And I thought, what a powerful group of people to
Yeah.
get fired up. So
Yeah. I was in a company where the vision was clearly stated. And then nothing happened for months after that. There was no communication, and everybody kept asking, are we moving towards that vision? Do we have any traction on that? Where is this at? What's going on?
Yeah.
And 6 months went by, and 9 months went by, and a year went by, and it was a year and a half, and people were now upset.
Yeah.
And so vision has to be real. You can't be
Yes.
selling somebody when, in that interview process, or just moving, getting your people excited about your company again. Like you can't
Yeah.
just say stuff and then not follow up. You actually have to mean it and do it and
Yeah.
have a plan to do it. So
You really shoot yourself in the foot if you do it that way.
yeah.
If you communicate it and then never do anything about it, the people that have been there a long time are like, this is just another
Yep.
spiel, like they don't care any more than they did yesterday. And that genuinely comes across that way. We don't care.
Yep.
And That's the literal worst thing in the world you can do to the people that work for you. You convince them you don't care. What's the point?
Yeah.
They stop caring and then they leave, or they stop caring and they service your customers badly. Either way, not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, and man, as CEOs, God, I just hope people hear us when we say this. Like, this is your problem to fix. You have all the resources to do it, and you are the leader of it. You
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean you have to come up with the vision. You have teams of people that can help you do that, but you have to be the one that stands behind it and says, "This is who we are, and I am going to talk about it every day." And I'm going to hold people accountable to talking about it every day and living it and measuring it and understanding it and being this kind of an organization. If we say we're innovative, we better be innovative. Like,
Yeah.
I'm on the I'm on the board for an organization that wants to say they're innovative, and every board meeting I'm like, tell me what you're doing about that, because if you're gonna say that to people, you better come out and put your money where your mouth is, because innovation is a never-ending thing, and if you're in the wrong kind of industry, it could be really hard.
Yeah.
So you got to push.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
we'll have an
talk about
episode.
much more. But
We'll have an episode on core values, and that's one of my biggest ones. And if everybody puts innovative on their core values, and I argue that one every time. So
yes.
I want to go to the second one that we got on the list, but vision was the first, and that comes up because I think they've been in companies that had no vision, and I think that's why they're asking about it, right? So the second thing on the list, it comes out in two different ways, and sometimes three different ways, actually. They'll ask if there is the company have like processes for the role they're trying out for, right? Do they have
Mm.
processes, SOPs, is standard operating procedures? Is there something that's going to guarantee me that I can succeed in this role, or has it been undefined and I'm going into Wild West territory here, where there is no criteria to judge me by. Therefore, it's actually scary because nobody's going to know how to judge whether or not I'm doing a good job or not. And I think a lot of people just want to know, they want to know with clarity, what does success look like? What things do I have to do? And if you've already got the manual written on it or the process written on it, I think that they have comfort. But this one shocked me. I really was shocked to hear out of 20-year-olds and even young 30-year-olds, I was hearing about asking about these things being in place. And I kept on thinking the only way they would know about this is that they actually worked in a company that had really organized. They had it together, right? And they knew that those things were important. And at that age, I didn't learn that stuff till I was in my 40s. I didn't learn that was important until I was in my 40s. And I'm sitting there going, these new candidates are sharp.
Yeah, it's a great story, because I feel the same way. I was like, until I was the manager of a team of people where I felt like I needed to really understand the process. Prior to that, could have cared less what it was. It's like, I felt like you went through some kind of training, you had some kind of skill set you brought to the mix, and you just went out and did your job. And that's how I mean, in sales and marketing, it's a little different because you can do that a lot, but marketing less so than sales. Right. But you're right. I think candidates nowadays are like, what you're really trying to say is, candidates nowadays really want to understand how you're going to measure success. And the only way you can measure success is if you are like, this role has very specific requirements, expertise, skill set, and measurables. And there's a process that we follow when we do these kinds of this kind of work, and that's what we're going to hold you accountable to. And we did a big show, obviously, a few weeks ago about process, and we won't dive into that. But the point here is, from a candidate's perspective, from a CEO, what they really want to understand is clarity from you, how they are going to be measured and how they're going to be successful. Right. That what's the road to success look like for me? It means do this job right here exceptionally well. And here's how we are going to show you how to do it and how we're going to measure you from it. And from there, it could mean this kind of growth. That's what they're asking. And I think it's incredibly key for the CEO, no doubt.
Yeah. And the candidates, I think they're asking, what is the obvious stuff that you're going to ask me to do? If you have a process for doing that, I'm going to do that really well. Like that's going to be awesome. What they're trying to actually get to here is superstar status. They want to knock it out of the park for you,
Yeah.
in your company. So if you give me the 80% of what I'm going to be doing, and that's already got a guide to it, a process and a guide,
Mhm.
standing operating procedures and SOP, I'm going to kill that. And then I can use all my other abilities and skills to really be a superstar for this company
Yeah.
and spend my time and energy putting towards new things and helping the company move forward. They're excited to do that. And
Yeah.
so I think that this the second one was, again, caught me off guard. I didn't expect to hear it. But the third one was crazy. The third one that I had recorded down was they wanted to know in their terms, and it's the terms that I use when I'm coaching. They wanted to know about one-on-one time with their direct reports. And I'm thinking there's pain here with these people. There's pain with these candidates. And the pain that I can immediately come up with, and there's probably many, but the pain that I'm thinking is the last job, they were trying to do something good. They were trying to do their job well. They had an idea. They were
Yeah.
trying to do good work in their company. And they couldn't get a one-on-one meeting with the decision maker to help them approve or just to even sell them their idea. And that makes me sick to my stomach, Trice, because I have been in these shoes before. And it's like we've even done it where we had a set meeting once a month or every week, and it just kept getting canceled and it pushed back. And
Yeah.
and it really over time, you just quit. You just quit because
Yeah.
the message is sending is you're not important.
You're
When
not
you
valuable.
schedule direct one-on-one time and you show up and you do it every week or every time you have it. And I'm big on weekly, bi-weekly. I don't like once a month. I think it's not nearly enough. And you say, I'm going to dedicate this time for you because you're important to me. And I want to hear what you have going on and what your top concerns are. And you have me, dedicated me. That's real leadership right there. And they want to know when they're asking these three questions: vision, process, and one-on-one meetings. Am I dealing with real leadership or am I dealing with Mickey Mouse stuff here that is going to waste my time?
Yeah. I think if you put these three things together, the way I look at this is if somebody has a vision, whether your boss is the CEO or not, right? Your leader has a vision and reflects the organization's vision. They are clear with you what your goals, your path, your process, everything is that you'll be measured by. So you understand what's going to be asked of you and you become an expert at that and you look for ways to innovate it, grow it, develop it, drive the business, do your part, be exceptional at what you do. And then the third part is I want to feel valued. And one-on-ones are really incredibly important to that because that's your time with your leader to say, I understand what the goals of the organization are, and here's what I'm doing about it. Here's what I need from you. Here's where I'm at as a person. Here's where I'm at, in my role. Here's what kind of questions I have, decisions I need, those kinds of things. The one-on time is so valuable. But what's critical here is those first two things lead to the third. Because if you're not real clear what the vision of the company is, what the goals of the company, what the goals of your role, your processes, if it's not crystal to you, you're going to get into that one-on-one time and you're going to, even if you get the time, you're going to be like, I'm not really sure if I'm doing a good job. I'm doing
Yeah.
everything every day,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm not real sure where I stand. So therefore, I'm not valuable because I don't have clarity. And if I don't have clarity, I can't feel good about the measurable because I don't know where I stand and you don't know where I stand. So now it's subjective. And
I was going to say that I've been in these one-on-ones. I show up and I say those exact same things, and the CEO looks at you and they don't know either. They don't know how to answer. And you leave that meeting not having those answers. And so
Yeah.
you're really just out in this gray area every day. The next day you come into work, it's the same thing. You only feel worse about it.
Yeah. It's worse. Now it's bad at every level, at every tier. Value is a virus. If people do not feel valued in their organization, it will just kill them. They'll be out like that. They'll be like, that's where they stop. They stop, just don't care. And it's so important for you as a CEO to be the visionary leader of your organization in some way, shape, or form. Because if you can do that and you can hold your immediate reports to that and be clear with what their goals are, and they can then, and one of their goals that you're holding them accountable for is passing on the goals of their team to the people that report to them, and so on and so on. Like then you can really genuinely say, I think we have a good process for measuring our vision. And it's, do people feel valuable? What's our turnover? What's our churn? How long do people who come in for the first year, because those are the ones that churn the highest, right? They come in, they're like, this job sucked, this organization sucked, they're out in 6 months. Well, man, if your turnover is high with that group, you have real problems, and you're just trying to throw bodies and money at problems at that point, and that's not going to solve it.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to add on the one-on-one thing. It's really misunderstood, I think, on a lot of levels, and the CEO is definitely one of them. When they hear that you're going to have a one-on-one scheduled and they start doing this, the employee shows up, the direct report, and they start talking. They start spilling everything out that's been in their mind between drives and in flights and weekend downtime, what they woke up thinking about. They just start spilling all this stuff out. One-on-one time isn't for you, CEO.
Yeah.
It's not for you. And same thing for other levels of management in the company. One-on-one time isn't for you.
No.
It's for them. You work for them. And I will say this is as many episodes as I can. You work for them. You have to find out. I'm not saying you can't tell them things you got in your head. There's other times to do that, or let them talk first.
Yeah.
That's how you tell somebody they're important.
Yes, 100%.
But let them finish with their stuff first. If you have time left over, great. And if you want to have that time, schedule a second meeting outside of your one-on-ones.
Yeah.
That's different, right? That's that's time where you need to spend. But please let them have the stage and the microphone, and let them feel important, and let them know that you trust them to use their time wisely, right?
Yes.
All those things. And I look at these three things and I'm going, yeah, what's missing? Money. They didn't bring money up. They didn't do it. Like, it wasn't their top concern. It might not have been their top 10. And they're willing to go down in pay as long as these other things are satisfied. So business owners, stop thinking about pay so much. It's not the top thing. If you spend as much time worrying about your vision, processes, and one-on-one time and making those things happen, you wouldn't have to worry about pay as much, because you're going to be able to keep employees easier.
I will tell you this, if from a pay perspective, I'm an advocate for actually maybe even overpaying, but market value. We live in a market, you and I live in Kansas City. This is a very affordable market from a talent perspective. We're below the national average in almost every category, regardless of what kind of work you do. But I mean, that's because the coasts are more, talent is more expensive there. Talent's more expensive in Denver than it is here, those kinds of things. But that being said, we kind of talked about this earlier. Like, if your vision and your brand and the passion with which people embrace your vision of an organization, the honest truth is you can pay less, because they are flocking to come work for you because of your culture and because of the cachet of your brand.
Yep.
And you're the best at what you do. You have the top pick of talent. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be paying market rate. You absolutely should be. And you should have, my experience has been, the organizations that do this really, really well, right? that what they may not necessarily pay the best, but their benefits are amazing because benefits add to culture. It's like amazing 401ks and amazing healthcare and all these other benefits that like most organizations don't do. Like they were doing maternity leaves and paid maternity leaves and stuff, extended times way before anybody else was. 6-month maternity leaves, and I mean it was amazing. And this is 10 years ago. So benefits can add to your culture in that way. It does. So to your point, a lot of people are coming to work for you because you're the best at what you do, and everyone knows it. Well, they're willing to come in for less or not get a raise for coming from one place to another place, right? And work for the same amount of money because they know it's going to do something for them. It's going to open doors on their resume because they know down further in their career, they're going to be able to say, well, I worked at this place and everybody in the world knows they're the best. And people are automatically going to go, well, I mean, you clearly know what the hell you're doing because you work there. And it's a different thing. And that is where you as a CEO have to think about it differently. It's empowering to you to do these three things exceptionally well because talent will come to you instead of you going to talent. And the talent will then also tell your story for you.
Mm-hmm.
Continue the legacy of how amazing you are to work for and how great you are as a leader and how well customers are taken care of. You can't get better advocacy than that. I mean, that's what every marketer in the world dreams of is that level of dedication.
You're selling the culture. And I'm a big believer in that. If you can sell the culture, if your people sell the culture for you, you're doing a great job. I think that if you get to a point where I did with my agency, I got to a point where people were coming to me saying, it took years to get here, but they were coming to me saying, like, it looks like your people really love their job. Like, it looks like you're such a great company to work for. People are so happy. And I hear great things. And I mean, we were gaining new employees and customers that way because we were selling the culture. And it got to a point where I really understood some of these components were affecting that. And so I could change the way I was leading to lead with more vision, to get processes down, and to be a better educator and trainer. And I got to the point where I was like, hey, it should be a real like big pat on my back if we are that stepping stone, if we are that place that people know they're not going to get maybe paid the top dollar, they're going to get paid good. Well, but it was agency life, so you always had to watch overhead, like a lot of people do. Sure. But if people know they're going to come and get great things here, like they're going to learn process, they're going to get great vision, and they're going to be excited and have a good time while they're here. The three things we pointed out here are things that are daily touches. They're daily things that affect people's motivation, right? They're not long-term benefits or benefits you only think about when you go to the doctor, right? Yeah. It's not just a paycheck you only think about when you get the paycheck type of situation. These are daily things that motivate you and that are part of your psyche, right? And I think that's why people are putting them there, because they realize it takes the daily motivation and the daily impact for me to love my job. And so these are just three things. I think there's hundreds.
Yeah, 100%. But you're exactly right. Like, I think this episode's really dedicated to thinking from a CEO's perspective. What are the things that people are they may not necessarily tell you these are the things they're looking for, but when we look at this, we're like, if you can do these three things really well, then one, people will understand you value them. Customers will understand they're gonna be well taken care of. Your culture will and your vision will reflect all the positive things that you want to reflect as a business leader and owner, potentially, right? So if nothing else, right, and frankly, all your success, potential success, is hinged on this piece. And if you can do these pieces well, you will grow. I almost 100% guarantee it, because the people that work for you And are your partners in growing your business are passionate about being amazing at what they do because you're awesome and you're amazing at what you do. They just want to be like you. You know, they want to be a part of continuing this legacy of being amazing. And, you know, I use this cheesy thing all the time. I'm like, just wake up and be awesome. That's it. That's your goal today. That's what people want, you know, and if they're taken care of and you value them, they're going to, you know, the adage of like, they'll take care of your customers if you're taking care of them. It's 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cliche. I mean, it is, but it's not, it's not ridiculous because it's true. You know, if you can be amazing at that, everything else take care of itself.
I think that having everybody say vision on this, you know, ask about the vision part of it was really reassuring, because in my 10 series workshop, right, that we do, the growth engine workshop, the third workshop is vision and mission. It's vision. And so if you're hearing this and you think my vision's good, but it's probably not really strong, I think what you should take away from this is it's really important to make it strong. Like it's really important to separate from competition, from other jobs they might be able to take, or current employees might be able to go to, and to keep that vision constantly in front of them, and to keep getting your team excited about where you're headed, and take them on a journey. Take your team on a journey. Every person needs to be on a journey with you, and you need to paint the picture of what that journey looks like. So, I
think next one of our future episodes, I know you do a lot of work about one-on-ones. And I really think we should go through like, what is a good one-on-one? What should the expectations be? What's the structure, you know, and give people a really good template for how they should be asking their employees to structure the one-on-ones with them as with leaders. Because I don't think like for me personally, no one's ever given me like a structure that they want to just stick to. But if you're a CEO and your time is valuable, right, and you're going to have one-on-ones with a lot of people, it's important for them to, just to what you said earlier, to be concise, to get to the point of what they need from you, so that you can get to the point of reflecting back to them on where you think things are going and where they are, other, you know, whatever factors are going on that you see that you want to give back to them and let them noodle on or whatever, you know. I think it'd be great to do that because I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, well, we will have to work that in. I have a big believer in the one-on-ones, and apparently the new generation is too. And we need to be considering that. And as leaders, if you think you have the formula for success from something you've used for years, guess what? You better shift now, because the thinking is different than it used to be. And you need to always be in that mode, in my opinion, of changing and shifting with the generations that you need to hire to run your companies. So, but that's all the time we have for today. And I appreciate it. If you're interested in Healthy Brands business coaching, please go to our website, healthybrands.biz, and contact me directly on social media if you'd like to talk further. And please put your comments down below in the posts.
Comment, like, and share. That's what we like to say.
Yep, do it, and we'll see you next week.